Okay, so this is a follow-up to a question that I got from a student about the tiling inside of the landscape, the landscaping tool that we had created. It had been giving us some incredibly what looked like, very tiled, like each one of these things were kind of tiny, and so it didn't really look very, very good. And so what I did was I messed around a little bit. I did some digging around, and I was able to get a much better, more realistic feel. There's a lot more of a broken up pattern here. You're not seeing the tiling or the texturing of the smaller squares in any of this. So you're seeing something that looks much more realistic, so to speak. As an example, this is the photorealistic one that we have from an example from somebody that had brought in. I guess the only thing here maybe is that they're adding a little bit more texture, so you get to see a little bit more shadows. But that's all I'm seeing, and it looks like that might be. Is it baked in, or is it dynamic? You know what? Let's rotate this thing, and that'll tell us. Yeah, so for me it looks... No, it's reacting to the light. Okay, cool. Alright, so anyways, so what I did was basically I went into the landscape material and started poking around. So if you double click the landscape material, I'll just pull mine over. This is what we created in class the other day, and basically what I did was I went into the landscape coordinates, and when you click on landscape coordinates you get a details panel over here on the left hand side. If I went down to mapping scale, switch that from, I think it was originally at 0, that's why it was tiled up so ugly. So from 0, I took it to a factor of 10, and it gave me an okay result. I ramped it up to 100, and I've got a really nice result. From there, I assume that you can play around with these options down here and see these are originally set to 0 as well. So I don't want to undo them because then I would have to go back and wait for the whole thing to render again. But again, the results that I got, let me go ahead and minimize that screen, pull back open the example, and I got much better results with a lot less tiling. In fact, I really can't even see any tiling in this. It looks pretty evenly distributed. Maybe at the 100 size, it looks like the vegetation might be a little bit too big for the picture. So at this point, I might go and find a different type of grass, because this is a whole mountainside. I mean, this right here is a 9-story building. That's a car for perspective, and it really looks like that grass is really, really big. So I might knock this back down to 50 and play around with it. But again, where I got to this was I opened up the landscape tool, went into landscape coordinates, and then here I started playing around with some of the settings, and the major one that did the most effect was the map scaling, and I switched that from a factor of 0 to a factor of 100, but I think I'm going to test it again at 50. So I hope that helps. That definitely gave it more of a realistic look, and I think at this point it's just finessing it. The mountains I think look great. Like for me, the mountains look like absolutely fantastic. Like lots of really nice detail in that. They look like they have real typology to them. They're not rounded off, so to speak, or how they felt before. Right? They really have some nice stuff going on there. The snow too. Snow came out looking a lot nicer. There's like dark areas of snow, light areas of snow. The texturing melted to this much better than it was before, and I don't see any type. Maybe right there. Maybe I see kind of like a thing here and kind of like that same pattern there. And a lot of this may also deal with what you're using for your texture sampling. See the one for the snow, it actually has a lot of like larger but darker patterns, and the one for the grass has pretty much consistent. It had some, but not as much. Honestly, I didn't even take a look at the sand, so let's go look at that. Oops. Where's my sand? Oh, I may actually not be. Oh, right around here. Yeah, I think I overblew it. I think 100 might be too much. I'm gonna try it at 50, because theoretically, I mean, a truck. Yeah, 100 might be too much. But anyways, that's where I got some results. So play around with those settings, see what comes out the best for you. I think the mountains look fantastic. The grass could do a little bit better. I could probably find a slightly different material or something for that. But I was quite impressed with the fading of the thing into the other thing. That looks really nice. I mean, look at the way that mountain just goes into what looks like snow caps. And it fades into the grass nicely too. Okay, so I hope that helps.